gotta be an idiot to bet on that parlay.
It's DTF or bust.
Put it on my mama's porch tomorrow.
Welcome back to Hold My Bev podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Park. Here with me, as always, the one, the only Tampa Bay Dylan is what they
Hello.
call him now.
Yep, DTFTB.
Yes. So, Dylan, how was your trip to Tampa? I know you were there for Thanksgiving this week.
Yeah, definitely disappointed we couldn't get the lads episode before I left for the trip last week, but we did have a nice week down there in Florida. Got to watch some good football, got to eat some good food, got to watch some gators in action. We had a gator in the pond in our backyard, so I watched him every morning. I almost saw him take out a bird. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. Got a new Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, so that's pretty sick. That was unexpected. Came home to a couple autograph cards in the mail. I had my Juice Scruggs and Larry Nance cards show up.
nice.
But overall, good week. Very thankful. But it is time to get back to work. We are going to be um, doing a big catch up with our bets on Thursday's episode with the lads. But week 13 was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the bets next episode, but
Yep.
yeah. If you didn't see the post, I'll just give you a spoiler. Not good across the board. I don't think any of us had a winning record this week.
No.
Yeah, no.
Mine was close, but
No cigar.
nope. And Corgi just goose egged.
Yeah. I knew it was bad when I tailed him on one of the plays.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go ahead and start off with our Thanksgiving games. We had the Detroit Lions beating the Chicago Bears 23 to 20. Lions were in control of this game for majority of the time, and then the Bears came out of nowhere. Um, and made this competitive. Bears had a shot to win the game at the end, but refused to take a timeout after taking a sack, which ultimately ended in Eberflus getting fired, what, the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It was
first time that the Bears ever have fired a head coach mid-season in their
that was
100 history.
awkward during the post-game press conference. Everybody just kept asking him if he was getting fired.
Yeah. Well, no, what's even crazier is the next day he had another press conference. They let him do the press conference, and then right after the conference,
Oh,
they
right.
fired him.
Right. Yeah, it was strange. Bears dumpster fire. I thought that they had every chance to win that game, and just something about the coaching at the end of the game. I mean, the firing was rightfully so.
Oh yeah, no. The firing has been overdue, and this game, especially the way it ended, was all the proof you needed that this firing need to happen.
Hmm.
Caleb Williams had a pretty good game, I would say. 256 yards, three touchdowns, and no interceptions. He's really come around this year. Um, and he's going to be ending his rookie year on a pretty strong note. I'm curious to see how he's going to do these following weeks with Eberflus not being in the picture. But even
Hmm.
just this small offensive coordinator move or change has made a significant difference. So I'm curious who do you think they're going to try to bring in?
I don't know. A lot of people are saying maybe Cliff Kingsbury, but I don't know if you'd want to leave Washington with what they got going on here. And
Well, that and they rejected him. He interviewed for the Chicago offensive coordinator job, and they went with Shane Waldron.
right, which they have realized was a big mistake too. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just the organization, not Cliff Kingsbury, but maybe he would realize, hey, they didn't want me the first time. Why would I want to go back? And seeing as how his coaching tenure was with the Cardinals, and then how he left for Thailand, and it was all weird for a minute there. Now he's back. Obviously, he was with USC. I don't think Caleb Williams would be enough for me to want to go coach for the Bears. I think that you want to avoid coaching at all cost. I think that the Commanders, possibly the Redskins in the future, are more upside, better upside. I would agree with if he'd stayed. But aside from him, some are saying maybe Pete Carroll or Bill Belichick. I don't know if I'd want him to do that either. That'd ruin his legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they have a solid team. They have a solid team. I think there are some players on the team I think they're paying way too much money to have,
Hmm.
especially on the defensive side of the ball, and their defense has been solid. But like TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, they're combined, I think, taking up $50 million each year.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They're not they're not good, in my opinion, good enough players to be taking up that much space.
Hmm.
Um, but I like what they're doing there as long as they're going in the right direction and they bring in the right hire. Um, I really like what Ryan Poles is doing there. I think Mike Vrabel would be a perfect coach for here, or if somehow, some way they could pry Kyle Shanahan away from San Francisco with them struggling and looking like they need to just hit the reset button, which we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I think Kyle Shanahan would be perfect for this team.
Low key, if the Jaguars end up firing Doug Peterson, I totally see Doug Peterson taking this job.
Yeah, I don't think he would be. I don't think Doug Peterson's a bad coach at all. I mean, obviously he's won a Super Bowl, but I
Hmm.
don't I don't think he's a bad coach. Could even be Mike McCarthy,
Yeah.
even though I don't like that fit that much, but
Yeah, I mean the whole Shanahan thing would be interesting if like you said, if they pry him away, but I think he's gonna stay with San Francisco. There's no reason for them to fire him, so it's not like he's gonna just walk away.
well, I'm half wondering if they're going to go on a fire sale this offseason. I mean,
Huh.
I think their roster is getting pretty old.
Hmm.
I mean, McCaffrey, which
Yeah,
I guess
rest in
we
peace.
might as well talk about that now. Like Christian McCaffrey, I don't know if he'll ever play again or if he'll play up to par where he ever was. He's never
Hmm.
going to be worth this contract, and that sucks saying because that's my favorite player or one of my favorite players. Um, Debo Samuel, I see him on a different team next year. George Kittle is, let me see how old he is. He's 31, so I mean he's still got some years left, but I don't know what you're gonna do there. You got Brandon Ayuk on a super expensive contract now that, you know, God knows if he's gonna come back from this injury or not.
Yeah.
It's really messy all around, and I hope they don't do a fire sale, but I almost feel like they would almost be smart to do a fire sale.
Hmm.
Especially if you want to keep Brock Purdy around, because you're not going to be able to afford Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I'm genuinely um unsure how that payday is gonna go. I don't know if he's gonna get all the money that he should, or if they're gonna not convince him, but if they're gonna convince themselves that he's not worth that much, that they can, pay him a little cheaper, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, but anyways, let's go ahead and move into the next Thanksgiving game. This game actually ended up being way better than I thought it was going to be. We had the Dallas Cowboys beating the New York Giants 27-20. Uh, I would say for majority of the game, or at least for sure the beginning of the game, this was a snooze fest. But
Hmm.
we had some pretty awesome plays happen in this game with not a great stat sheet, but some pretty cool plays like that interception that oh, what's his name? DeMarvion Overshown had one of the coolest interceptions I've ever seen from a D lineman. Literally just patted the ball up to himself and just ran it in for a touchdown. That was pretty cool to watch. I couldn't believe that I actually watched that happen.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else happened. Um, Rico Dowell had finally his breakout game, but I think this will probably be the best game he'll ever have in his NFL career, is my guess.
You're also playing the Giants.
Yeah, you're also playing the Giants. Drew Lock, he started doing good, and then as the game got on, he just progressively got worse. He had a pretty cool rushing touchdown for 28 yards. Uh, Other than that, this game, I don't know how it ended up getting 27-20 personally, but the
Yeah.
Cowboys are on a two-game winning streak now. And a lot of Cowboys fans have some false hope, and I hate to break it to you, but you just played the Giants. So,
Yeah, and I think they have Cincinnati this week, which I don't think
yeah,
that's
that's gonna be a smoking.
yeah, they have Monday Night Football against the Bengals.
Yeah, that's gonna be an obliteration right
The
there.
Homer Simpson game.
Homer Simpson game.
Yeah, they're playing they're doing that like different broadcasts and it's gonna be the Simpsons.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, kind of like how they did Toy Story for the London game last year. They've got the Simpsons game this year.
Oh, that's cool. I actually didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and just get this last Thanksgiving game out of the way. We had the Green Bay Packers beating the absolute brakes off the Miami Dolphins, 30-17. Tua with almost 400 passing yards. Tyreek Hill finally gets back in the end zone again, 83 yards and a touchdown. Jonnu Smith has become wide receiver number one in Miami. Packers, other than that, the Packers absolutely dominated this team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jordan Love, two touchdowns. Josh Jacobs, touchdown, 43 yards on the ground. Just literally getting everyone involved. And then I'm trying to see if there were any defensive touchdowns at all. No, just a bunch of McManus field goals.
Yep.
But yeah, for Tua talking a big game going into this game that, if the cold doesn't bother them, this they played like they were in November or December
Mm-hmm.
this game. Um, so yeah, that was pretty disappointing to see the Dolphins get smacked that bad, especially if they still legitimately had a shot at the playoffs. And they still do, but I don't see it happening.
With the AFC being so weak this year, I think they still have a chance, but I I don't see this Dolphins team winning any more cold games for one. And two, I just don't see them competing to the level of the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so do you think so I've been seeing a lot of reports and tweets about Mike McDaniel getting fired at the end of the year. Um One, I guess he was just standing in front of the heater the entire time at halftime and just constantly shivering. Which, yeah, it's cold in Green Bay. Who wouldn't? But at the same time, as a leader, especially coming from Miami, I,
Yeah,
I can see how players would get upset when he's in a big jacket and he's shivering, acting like, you know, I don't know. I guess a lot of people had a problem with that.
sure. I mean, there's definitely when you're a leader of men, I mean, you've got to set the example. So if you're gonna act like that, I don't think you're representing a leader quality, but ultimately, I don't think they're gonna fire him. He's one of the coaches I think, again, has a lot of bright side. I know Tyreek might be gone. Like that's the first person I see leaving
Hmm.
Miami before him. You don't know what's going on with Tua's future, but you do have promise in Achane, Waddle, Jonnu Smith. I mean their defense is decent. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that there's still upside to Mike McDaniel being there.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think Mike McDaniel is a good coach. Just has to learn how to get his team to play in December.
Yeah.
Um, Next we had our Black Friday game, which I honestly forgot this game was even on, to be honest.
I did too until I was at Universal Studios and I saw somebody in line for a ride on their phone sideways, and I'm like, what could they be watching? Oh, right. And then I tuned in right at the right time. I tuned in when it was 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Chiefs just punted, and Raiders were looking to score, and then the big fumble. Just so typical of the Chiefs to get that type of win.
Yeah. Final score was 19-17. Aiden O'Connell actually had a really good game. I didn't even realize how good of a game he had.
Yeah, he looked pretty good out there.
340 yards, two touchdowns.
Yeah,
Brock Bowers had another stellar performance, 10 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. Uh, are we ready to call Brock Bowers a top three tight end in the NFL?
I think he already is, and I think he's tight end one this year.
He is currently tight end one, statistically. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready to call him that. I
Hmm.
think Travis is still very good and just he doesn't have quite the receiving ability, but he's smart enough he can make himself open.
Yeah,
Whereas Brock Bowers has the athleticism. He's just awesome. He's proven that he's worth that pick, and everyone was having a hissy fit over, oh, they have Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. Well, if you have a chance to get someone like this, who gives a shit about Michael Mayer?
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. Um, but yeah, that fumble was pretty massive. Patrick Mahomes continues to get away with, you know, subpar performance. He's somehow tied for eighth in touchdowns thrown this year. Which I don't know how,
Right.
because it seems like he's only been averaging one touchdown a week.
Yeah,
Um,
he's almost been having more interceptions than touchdowns.
yeah, yeah, he's currently 19 for 11. Um, which I feel like that has to be a career high for him.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Um, DeAndre Hopkins had a good game. Travis Kelce, 7 receptions, 68 yards, nothing to slouch about. Um, just getting everyone involved. They had four receivers over 50 yards, so that's pretty cool to see.
Hmm.
Pacheco got back in his first game, 7 carries, 44 yards. He had one 34-yard run in particular. I still think Kareem Hunt's going to be getting quite a few carries for quite a while.
Yeah, it looks like he got a decent workload. So
Yeah,
you,
he got two receptions too,
hmm
and was targeted 4 times. So I don't think Kareem Hunt's going to be going anywhere in the snap count.
Just to clarify, Mahomes' career high interceptions was last year with 14. Um, but he has 11 right now with what, 4 games to go. So he's on pace to break it. But the last 3 years are 14, 12, and 13.
Yeah, but yet they always somehow find a way to win.
Yeah,
So they're now 11-1.
two
Next,
11, 2-11-1 teams right now. That's crazy.
yeah. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts beating the New England Patriots 25-24. Patriots miss a field goal that would have won them the game, which I would have loved because we would have moved up a couple of picks in the draft. Um, and not that I think we need to necessarily pick higher, but it would have been more trade value if we wanted to trade down.
Yep.
Um, this game, even though it was a really close game, uh, in my opinion, not the best of games to watch this week. Um, Drake May was throwing some pretty accurate balls, but looks like he was being pressured quite a bit in this game. But that O-line does suck, so I'll give him that.
Hmm.
Um, his tight ends, Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, looks like they bailed him out. I didn't pay little to no attention other than the last field goal attempt to this game, but Anthony Richardson back to throwing interceptions, but also throwing touchdowns at the same time. Only 109 yards passing, uh, 50% completion passage. So he's at right at 500, the lad would say, right where you want to be.
Yep. playing game.
Yeah, playing game. He had a rushing touchdown as well. And then Alec Pierce, I gotta see where he is. Oh, he's only. I swear he's had more touchdowns than five. I feel like he's been averaging at least one every week.
Guess not.
Yeah, I feel like I always see him getting a touchdown on red zone. But yeah, not the greatest performance by the Colts. Um, but they move on to 6-7. Still in the race for the AFC South. Um, I think it's the Texans division, but it's still a close enough race right now. It's really anyone's game.
Yes, but as a reminder, they have lost to the Texans twice already this year. So if it came down to the two of them, the Texans have the tiebreaker.
Yes. Yes. Next, this was my
Game,
game of the week right
game of
here.
the week. This was a great game.
Yeah, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati 44 to 38. I did not think I would ever see the Pittsburgh Steelers put up 44 points in a game.
Not with the way they've been playing all season.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
they were going touchdown for touchdown. I mean, it was back and forth the entire game. I was impressed. I mean,
But does that
Russell,
speak more to Russell Wilson in the Steelers offense or Cincinnati and the Bengals defense?
it's a great question. I mean, the Bengals put up 38 points on the Steelers defense, which is also very good. I
But the
mean,
Bengals offense has been the only reason they've been in games
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
all year.
it's tough to decide who's responsible here, but ultimately it was a great game to watch. There's a lot of action. Russell Wilson putting up big numbers. Um, it's just a good game overall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This game was awesome. Did you get to watch Hard Knocks at all?
Not yet. No, I still have to watch that.
Yeah, they showed this game quite a bit in this week's Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I gotta tune
By the
in.
way, I'm super excited to see next week's because they'll have more of the Browns on there.
Hmm.
Obviously, we didn't play till Monday night, so we were in there, but not a lot. But go check it out if you haven't already on Max. It's not a sponsor, but as cool as that would be. But next we have the Chargers beating the Atlanta Falcons as the Falcons are slowly dwindling away, and are now tied with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers record-wise at 6-6.
Mm. They have the tiebreaker though.
They do have the tiebreaker. Kirk Cousins probably has one of his worst performances of his career. Zero touchdowns, four interceptions, QBR of 34.5. Bijan Robinson basically carried this team by himself with Ray McLeod and Drake London. Um, but man, Kirk Cousins, this is a game to forget for him.
Hmm.
And who the hell is J.K. Scott? Oh, punter. He's the Chargers punter. Looks like he had a 3-yard pass. But going into this game, J.K. Dobbins was out for the year, I believe.
Yeah.
So that sucks for the Chargers. But Gus Edwards, did his job. The little that he ran, 6 carries, 32 yards. Lad McConkey has absolutely proven that he is the wide receiver one on this team. But yet, I would still love to see them go out this offseason and bring in another wide receiver, whether it's bringing back a player like Keenan Allen or who it may be. Because I know that Keenan Allen's been said that he's either going to come back to Chicago or go back to the Chargers.
Oh, interesting.
I for some reason thought I sent you that.
No, I must have. No, I didn't get that one.
Yeah, he said it to a reporter sometime last week. It was either
Hmm.
last week or early this week. Um, so that's very interesting. Um, this Chargers team, like I get why they've been winning, but it like pisses me off because it's like the Steelers to an extent.
Yeah.
but
Well,
they're
I mean,
just
they have
well
Harbaugh.
coached. They're just
Yeah, they
well
have
coached.
Harbaugh. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you really look at it, like compare this Chargers team to last year's Chargers team. Last year's Chargers team, they ended the year with the fifth overall pick,
Yeah, and they were
and
just
they got rid of
dumpster
a
fire.
lot of their
Well,
talent. They got rid of a lot of their talent on this team
yeah,
going into this year, and now they're 8-4.
yeah.
But they had
Somehow.
a switch of a head coach.
Mm-hmm. Coaching is a big deal.
It is
People,
a big deal.
I mean, it's
Uh,
a big deal.
yeah, that actually brings up a good point I wanted to bring up. I was listening to a podcast, the NFL Stock Exchange, and they were debating on whether having a good quarterback, good coach, or good GM is going to be like the most important thing to anyone.
Probably, in my opinion, a good GM because they're building the foundation. And I mean, a good quarterback's good and all, but what if your defense sucks? I mean, you can put up 24 to 30 points every game, but not if your defense is giving up 40 every game. And the coaching can only go so far because you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink it. So I don't know.
So I would say coach 100% because I feel like a coach has a lot of, especially a coach that has input on any transactions that happen.
Hmm.
So like, draft pick, um, free agency, trades, anything like that. So someone like a Mike Tomlin, I mean, is a living example. I still think he's never had a losing record.
I don't think so.
Yeah, which is crazy to think. Um, but that's just how important a coach is. I mean, they're all important, but I think having a good head coach is like the first like step that you need to build like a dynasty or legacy. Anyways, moving on, we had the drunk game of the week. We had the Seattle Seahawks beating the New York Jets 26-21. This game was not very entertaining at all.
Jets had by far one of the best first quarters of the season, and then it just went all downhill from there. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, go to Netflix and watch Aaron Rodgers' new three-part story.
I have not seen it yet, but
He
uh,
is a he's a wacko.
yeah, I could have figured, but before the preview, I'll watch it. That's
Jackson Smith and Jigba's kind of become wide receiver one low key, and it's been very nice to see that, especially for fantasy purposes.
Oh yeah, I don't want to say I think they should look into trading DK Metcalf, but I mean I definitely field some offers if I were them.
Yeah, I mean, or just trade JSN to the Texans and give CJ Stroud his number one weapon back.
Mm. That too. But speaking of CJ Stroud, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-20. Um, didn't have his greatest performance. Nico Collins came out though and showed out.
Yeah,
119 yards.
this was a
But
really, really, really weird game. Kind of put me in a bad mood. So I started the day having Texans minus 3.5, and they had like a 10-point lead, and then they end up, I don't know if it was 10 point or whatever, but they end up only winning by 3. So then they didn't cover, but they had every right to cover up until they gave up 8 points. So they're up by 11. So they give up 8 points late in the fourth quarter to Mac Jones and the Jaguars. Had a really crazy hit early in the game, sends Trevor Lawrence to the locker room for concussion protocol. Um, Starts a fight very similar to the Ohio State Michigan fight on Saturday. Um, Game just pissed me off, but Stroud just week after week lately, he's been disappointing me with his performance. I don't know what it is from last year to this year. I mean, they added Stephon Diggs. Obviously, he's on the IR, but they added Diggs, and this team looked legit. Joe Mixon looks legit. Just very strange that Stroud's not playing, like he was last year.
Yeah, it's not so much that he's playing like bad.
No.
He's had a bad week, but he's not playing bad. They're just not performing as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's exactly missing there. And hopefully they can figure it out soon. But yeah, Mac Jones came into the game, played a pretty good game, I would say.
Yeah.
235, two touchdowns, zero interceptions. Um, and I thought this game was done and over with when I heard that he was subbing into the game, and
Oh, I know.
they made a comeback at the very end out of nowhere. Made this game a lot closer than it needed to be. Um, Al Shakir, I think that's his name, something.
Yeah.
He got suspended for 3 games. I think that's a
Agree.
little steep, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger thing was not so much the hit, it was just the way he carried on after the, skirmish and then trying to um, fight again before on his way to the locker room.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what gets people going when you're not you're taking away from the game by doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's valid. But next we have the Minnesota Vikings beating the Arizona Cardinals 23 to 22. Cardinals had every chance to win this game and should have won this game. And I still do not understand how they did not win this game.
That blows my mind. I don't understand that either.
Yeah, especially looking at the stats and, just how the whole game uh panned out exactly too. Like they just let the Vikings take over the fourth quarter and that was history right there.
Yeah.
Um Kyler Murray, probably his worst performance as a recent 260 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions. I mean, not necessarily a horrible game, but Trey McBride is continued to just show out. I think he's right up there with Brock Bowers in this conversation of tight ends right now.
Oh yeah.
12 catches, 96 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but I mean, 12 catches, 96 yards is insane still.
Yeah, he's
Marvin
right.
Harrison finally got back in the end zone as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see him week after week get touchdowns. I mean, he should be getting more production, but it's just very strange his his role in that offense.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll develop over time, but I think especially you give him one good offseason after he's, well exposed to NFL competition.
Hmm.
I think he's gonna have a big new year next year, hopefully.
I hope so.
Um, the lad finally got his Justin Jefferson hit.
Jeez. Yeah, I could not believe it took this long for him to get it.
Yeah, we thought he cursed him for a moment, and who knows? Maybe he still is cursed, but who
We'll
knows?
see if he keeps rolling with that line.
Yeah. Next we'll go over this game really briefly. Commanders beat the Titans 42 to 19. Absolute ass kicking in this game. Um, Commanders scored 21 points in the first quarter, and it was pretty much done right then and there.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. Terry McLaurin had 2 touchdowns this game, so I love seeing him get back in the end zone. They had 2 running backs go for almost 100 yards, one with 103 and Brian Robinson, and then Chris Rodriguez Jr., 94 yards, both getting in the end zone. Jaden Daniels getting a rushing touchdown and 3 passing touchdowns as well. Um, this Titans team, like they have a good team. They just need to figure out how to get someone other than this Nick Westbrook Akini in the end zone.
Yeah, they need to figure out how to work Tony Pollard more. I mean, week in, week out, Pollard's doing pretty good numbers, but I mean, that's where they should start. The run game's so important, and if they could just get Pollard to be their first weapon of attack, and then you can open up the passing game, Like right now, they're relying too much on passing, and that's why week after week, Will Levis looks so bad because he's throwing so many interceptions and just making these big mistakes. And if they could just get that run game going a little more, I mean, a couple weeks ago, Pollard had like over 125 yards on the ground, I think,
I
and
think just last week he did.
that
Yeah.
was last week. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, Titans this year's scrapped. I mean, you're looking at draft. You're looking
yeah,
at the draft right now. You're looking at the offseason, seeing what you can do to help this team out. But next we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Carolina Panthers in overtime, 26-23. So now me and Dylan are tied in our competition for the NFC South at 6-6.
yep.
As Dylan did say, Falcons do have the tiebreaker right now, going 2-0.
Yeah. It sucks though because the Falcons are 4-1 in division right now with one game to go, and the Bucs are 2-2 in the division with two games to go, and both of their losses were to the Falcons. So it's probably going to be another year of Brandon winning the race to first place.
Another year of stakes for me.
Yep, going to Denny's.
Um, but Bryce Young, not not a horrible game. Didn't turn over the ball.
Bryce
But
Young
yeah,
looks like a whole new quarterback.
yeah. So maybe benching him was a good thing earlier in the year.
He looked like he was having fun out there. Him and Andy Dalton were seen a lot on the sidelines talking, and I think having Dalton there as a mentor or just a leader is very good for Bryce Young and his career development. Um, Buccaneers, just a solid game. I mean, Bucky Irving is going to do Bucky Irving. Baker is Baker. I mean, there's not a lot you can say, but they have a really good, well-rounded team. They should not have been this close. I don't think that they should have been losing to the Panthers by any means, but these Panthers almost beat the Chiefs. So I was a little nervous coming into this game. It wasn't just a walk in the park, hey, but a very fun game to watch, very stressful game to watch, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Bucky Irving did have an amazing game though. 152 yards, touchdown. Mike Evans, 118 yards and a touchdown. Where actually is Mike Evans in receiving yards this year?
He has about 540.
21.
Was it?
521.
20. Yeah, so he's close.
Yeah. So I'm curious whether he's gonna keep going off the rest of the year and get that 1,000 yard mark. So he's had how many years now in a row with
10,
1,000 yards?
10 years in a row with 1,000.
Yeah, so hopefully this won't be his first year without 1,000 yards. So I like
Nah,
seeing Mike Evans.
Baker will make it happen.
Yeah. Next we had the Rams beating the Saints 21-14. The Riz man finally lost his first game, I believe.
Yep.
Um, Derek Carr had a very Derek Carr game, except no interceptions. Alvin Kamara, though, had a good game, 112 yards on the ground. Taysom Hill did get hurt. Their Swiss knife is now out for the year. MVS got in the end zone again this game, though. Just always keep forgetting that he's on the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We got a Kyron Williams touchdown, 104 yards on the ground. Good game for him. It's cool seeing Blake Corum getting some more carries now. He's getting more and more carries and workload every week, so that's cool seeing
Yeah.
him kind of slowly worked in. Puka Nacua also getting in the end zone with 56 yards. Uh, Other than that, nothing very special about this game. Didn't really seem like it was the greatest game on earth. Um, but it was at least competitive. 21-14. I mean, one touchdown game.
Yep.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a complete snooze fest. This next game, though, the Eagles beating the Baltimore Ravens 24-19. Uh, Ravens should have won this game, man.
They should have.
Yeah, Justin Tucker, eh, he's ready for the old Yeller ending to his career. Take him to a nice farm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
a field goal wouldn't have won the game for them, but
Well, he missed. How many did he miss? He missed two field goals and an extra point.
yeah, something's wrong mentally with him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Right before we started recording, I was listening to Pat McAfee and Bill Belichick talk about it. Because Bill Belichick said the one thing about Justin Tucker that made him so great was that every single one of his kicks were just straight on. There was
Hmm.
no curve to it, anything like that. It was just a straight shot. As long as he was lined up, he was going to nail it. Whereas this year, he's been hooking a lot of his kicks. Um, so who knows? Maybe he needs the Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca um, treatment.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley, though, just continues to go on a tear. 170 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Didn't do a whole lot receiving though. But who do you think is the MVP this year? I'm gonna ask in the preview as well.
Well, then I'll just save it.
You're just gonna save it for the preview?
Yep.
All right, cool, cool. We'll go over that. I'll text the boys to be ready for that.
I
Um,
want I
I
want
wanna. I'm gonna get a list of everyone's top three in order.
yeah, and I
You
want
can
to do
rank them if you were a voter.
yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that.
Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say Heisman too, but because
We,
I don't think it's as locked as people think it is.
I don't think so either.
But
Uh, Next we have the Buffalo Bills beating the San Francisco 49ers 35 to 10 on Sunday Night Football in the snowstorm. Brock Purdy lays an egg in this game. Also, they didn't give him a ton of workload, so can't really blame him a whole ton. Um, but Josh Allen had one of the craziest touchdowns I've ever seen.
yeah, they're talking about how he had a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown, and making history. People forget that Taysom Hill does that all the time.
Didn't he just do that against the Browns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I listen, I know they want to make a bigger deal because he's a quarterback versus a tight end per
And he
se.
just
You know,
got engaged to Kate Bishop.
I love all the tweets that are like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm Josh Allen. I just threw my own touchdown and caught my own touchdown. I'm Marion Hattie Steinfeld. Fuck you." But all in all, Josh Allen's the real deal, and I really, really hope these Bills can come out of the AFC for the Super Bowl. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'd love to see him in the Super Bowl. But next, we had our Monday night football game. We had the Denver Broncos beating the Cleveland Browns. This game was a lot closer than the scoreboard says. It's 41 to 32. Uh,
Yeah.
would not have been 41 if we did not throw that last pick six at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was what, a 1 point game, I think?
Yeah, it was really close.
Yeah, it was 30. Wait, hold on. No, 34. It was 34 to 32.
Yeah.
We are down by two. Uh, he threw a little bit behind. I think it was Elijah Moore. Yeah, it was Elijah Moore. Threw a little bit behind him, threw his second pick six of the game at the very end. Um, but even with the three interceptions, he had an awesome game.
I mean, Jameis,
497 yards.
yeah, Jameis looked great. It was a Jameis game though. I mean, it was very much I'm gonna throw for 500 yards, but I'm gonna throw for three or four interceptions, and you just gotta live with it. But a lot of people are saying that the Cleveland Browns and all the Cleveland Browns fans like us would rather see that than Deshaun Watson ever play another game for us.
That is true. I would be one of those people. I would say that.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy absolutely shattered his career highs in this game. Nine catches, 235 yards, and a touchdown with a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, he looked like he was playing like the best receiver in football that night.
It was
Like he was like night and day difference.
something something told me in the middle of that game that we should have expected that being that he was going back to Denver. and that he's the only player on the Browns who has experience playing in Denver, like a lot. They were talking about it mid-game about how the Berea facility incorporated low altitude or high altitude room in their facility to train these players, and he helped develop it. And we should have known that Judy was going to go off, but I couldn't believe that Elijah Moore went off too. He hasn't done anything all season.
Yeah. 8 catches and 111 receiving yards. But
I really wish Nick Chubb would have sat out the rest of the season. He's just not the same Nick Chubb. I feel so bad for him because he's trying, but it's just not happening.
yeah, he did get in the end zone though.
He did. He did.
Yeah. Um, Kadarius Tony finally got some action.
Oh yeah. Big
Yeah.
action with his
Uh,
reverse.
yeah, one rush, 3 yards. And then of course his first target he ever gets, he drops it wide
Yep.
open.
Yep.
Um,
He was the difference maker.
yeah. Uh, but on the other side of the football, Jaleel McLaughlin, the Youngstown State product, 84 yards. I think that was his best rushing performance in his career.
Cortland Sutton looks great. I mean, he has just revived his career in Denver with Bo Nix. He's become wide receiver one again. Um, it's nice to see that young core of Broncos with Marvin Mims. You've got
Troy
Franklin.
Franklin. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've been saying all season, and we've kind of been riding the Bo Nix train, but these Broncos are scary. They are fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. And, that defense is the real deal. Nick Bonito.
Yeah, that was cool. I
Yeah.
mean, I hated that it was against us, but
Yeah.
that was a cool pick six.
Yeah. Bo Nix actually did not even have that great of a game, and he was talking about it to the reporter at the end on how he's going to beat himself up for tonight, and he's just happy to get the win. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
did finish with 294 yards. Granted, 93 of those were on a pass that Greg Newsome just baited Wade into. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
he took the gamble and it didn't work out.
It was crazy though that touchdown happened to Mims, and then the next play, Judy got that 70-yard touchdown. It was just like back and forth. It was so much fun. I mean, this was a really fun game to watch on Monday Night Football. Like these primetime games have been really panning out
Well,
this
yeah,
year.
no, these last two games have been my favorite games to watch as a Browns fan this year.
Hmm.
I will take these two games over the Baltimore win, uh,
Yep.
Jacksonville, which that one wasn't even that great, but
Nope.
yeah, these two games have been awesome to watch. Jameis has been playing awesome.
Yeah.
Um, it just makes me excited to watch football, Browns football again. Seeing someone new like Jameis that's, gets the players excited to play for him. Um,
I'm in 2026 mode right now. Get me to Arch Manning. I'm
I
just
don't even know if I want that.
I think I do. And I think that's where we may end up if we just do another bridge year next year.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I kind of hope we'll talk about that on another episode. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. That was week 13 of the 2024 NFL season. We'll be coming out with our 2020 our week 14 preview. It will be up tomorrow morning, so we'll have back-to-back episodes coming out. So be on the lookout for that. But other than that, Dylan, I'm gonna let you close us out.
Go Cavs, go Browns,
Yes.
go Bucks. Sad weekend, can't really talk about it. Still not over it.
Yeah.
Worst loss in probably college history. Fire Ryan Day. Gamble responsibly. Don't be like the lad. Call 1-800 Gambler. Love you guys.